This tutorial is to help in completing Excel Project 14. To begin with, you are to download the file that's given to you on Canvas. That's what I have here on the screen. We do need to start off by clicking on Enable Editing up along the top to activate our ribbon. Now, this is missing some data. We are missing our column headings. The reason I didn't give you your column headings is because we need to evaluate which column heading is going to go with which column. We have a little reminder that some column headings are centered over more than one column. So if we look at our instructions, our first column heading says it's employee name, and that needs to go on 2 lines. So we are going to come here. Now we want to put employee on one line and then name on the line below it. But notice that doesn't give us enough lines because we want to have a blank line above our column headings. So we're going to come out to the number 3 on the side, and we're going to do a right click and then go to Insert. We're going to add another row. So we have employee name. Now the employee name is going to be both columns A and B. We just have those split into first and last names. So our next column heading, which is employee number, is going to go in column C. So we're going to put employee in C4 and then number in C5. Then column D is going to be years, and then below that service. E is going to be monthly, and then below that earnings. And then in column F, we're going to put yearly and earnings. And we haven't calculated our yearly earnings yet, so we'll have to make that calculation as a part of completing the assignment. All right, we are going to go ahead and do some formatting before we move on. So we'll start with our main heading, and we'll go ahead and apply the formatting that goes with that one. And then also our subheading. So main heading 15-point bold, merge and center. Subheading just needs to be merged and centered. Now our column headings are on rows 4 and 5. Those do need to be centered on both rows, but then only the bottom row needs to have underline applied. And then we need to center the word employee over columns A4 and B4, so we're going to do a merge and center, and then the word name needs to be merged and centered underneath that. So a little bit creative there with our formatting. Make sure everything looks exactly the way mine does. All right, next it tells us to center the numbers in columns C and D, so we'll highlight both of those and center. Then it says to figure the yearly earnings, we're going to multiply the monthly earnings by 12. So we're going to click under yearly earnings, do equals, click on the first number under monthly earnings, star, or the asterisk for multiply, and then the number 12 because there's 12 months in a year. And then we can click on our answer, grab our fill handle, and drag that down so we have the yearly earnings for all of our employees. Next, we're going to format columns E and F to currency with no decimals. So we're going to come up to the number group and we're going to change that to currency. Now it does give us 2 decimals, so we're going to go ahead and reduce that by 2. Now we'll go ahead and highlight our columns and adjust those widths appropriately. We are going to add some totals here, so let's put in our word totals. We do need to make that bold and all caps. And then it tells us we're going to total the years of service, monthly earnings, and yearly earnings. So we're going to start under years of service, and we'll just do an auto sum. And then we'll go under monthly earnings, do an auto sum, and yearly earnings, do an auto sum. And then just double check your column widths to make sure that we're still okay after adding those totals in. Now our years of service number 89, we do need to go ahead and make that centered so it matches the rest of the column above it. Now we need to add the appropriate borders on our totals row. So we highlight from A14 over to F14, and then we're going to come up to our font group, click on the borders drop down arrow, and then choose top and double bottom border. Next, we need to center horizontally and vertically on the page. So we're going to go to Page Layout, launch the Page Setup group, go to Margins, put a check mark by horizontally and vertically, click on OK. We have made some changes to this file, so it would be a good idea for us to run a spell check. So we're going to press our F7 key on our keyboard and say yes, we want to start at the beginning. And it tells me that my spell check is complete. If you have any errors, be sure to fix them as it goes through. We next need to add a header. Put your name at the left, your class period in the middle, and then we're going to put the file name in the right-hand side. Go ahead and click out of your header, and then I like to switch back to normal view. Then we are going to go ahead and save at this point. So let's go to File and Save As. And then we do need to change to our student drive. Go into our Computer Tech folder, Excel folder, and then we want this to be called Project 14. And we'll click on Save. All right, now we need to do a little bit of a sort to this. It says sort the file in ascending alphabetical order, primary by last name, secondary by first name. So this is the first time that we're sorting by two things at the exact same time. Now we start off with highlighting what we want to sort or what we want to be moved. Now we do not want to include a totals row when we do sorting. I don't want my totals to end up in the middle up somewhere. We want them to stay down at the bottom, and we want the column headings to stay at the top. So we only highlight the data in between. Then we go to our Home tab, the Editing group, click on Sort and Filter, Custom Sort. Now to do two different sorts at the same time, we're going to click on the Add Level button. So we now have a Sort By and a Then By line. In the Sort By, we put our primary sort, which is ascending alphabetical order, that's A to Z, by last name. Now the last names, if we look over here, are in column A. So we're going to choose column A, A to Z. And then secondary by first name. Their first names are in column B, and we want that to be A to Z. Then we'll click on OK. Now how we can tell if this is done correctly is when we have two people with the same last name, such as Tanner. We should have Sarah Tanner and then Tara Tanner. Then we have two Wilsons. George Wilson should be before Hannah. All right, double check that you're sorted okay, and if it did, we're going to do a Save As and name this 14A so that we know it's a sorted one. And then we're also going to convert to a PDF. And then we can close that PDF. Now for part 2 of this, it says to sort the file by years of service in descending order. So we're going to highlight the data we want to be moved again, go up to our editing group, choose Sort and Filter, Custom Sort. Now this only has us doing one sort, so I'm going to click on my Then By line and delete it. And then it tells me I want to sort by years of service. Years of service, if I look here, is in column D. And then it tells us descending order. Descending would be largest to smallest. Ascending starts with an A, so it's A to Z, or 1 through 10, smallest to largest. Descending is going to be the opposite of that, so largest to smallest or Z to A. Then we click on OK. So we should have George Wilson who is 25 years of service at the top, and then Tamara Banner with 5 years of service at the bottom. We're going to go to File and Save As, change this to 14B, and then we also want to convert it to a PDF. And we have one more part to this one. On part 3, it says to sort the file primary by monthly earnings in descending order, secondary by last name in ascending order, and thirdly by first name in ascending order. Okay, so we'll start with highlighting the data that we want to be moved. We'll go up to our sort and filter, custom sort. And so we have 3 things, so I'm going to add 2 more levels. Okay, primary, it said monthly earnings, which is column E, and then descending order, which would be largest to smallest. Then our secondary is by last name. Last name is in column A, and it wants in ascending, which would be A to Z. And then third is by first name, which is column B, and that would be ascending A to Z. And we'll click on OK. Now George Wilson did stay at the top. He makes the most money there. But notice that our monthly earnings are now in descending order. And we have 2 that make the same amount, George and Hannah Wilson, so George should come before Hannah. All right, go ahead and go to File and Save As. And this one is going to be 14C. And then be sure to convert it to a PDF. And then you have 3 files that you will submit. You'll submit 14A, 14B, and 14C to Canvas.